day I'm hustling. Every
Welcome back to the Matrix. You're not just in the Matrix, you are the Matrix. How's it feel, Neo? And today we got ourselves a banger daily market news and analysis. We got a lot in store for you today. We're going to go over the news, which there's a lot of news to cover today. We're going to go over the analysis. I'm going to give you my thoughts, my predictions. We're going to go over Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, ADA, the Dow Jones, the DXY, Bitcoin Dominance, and then we're going to get into your guys' charts and questions, comments, concerns, all that stuff. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Okay, the first thing, breaking news, India has launched a missile strike on Pakistan, vows to retaliate. Okay, so viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to show this. So you go. This is full on war. And I definitely have some thoughts on this as far as the charts and the TA. War is evil. We'll just start there. War is evil. There is nothing good about war. I've been to war. I've been to 3 different wars, 4 different times. Okay? There's no winners. All right? I assure you. And it means something different than what you think. So we'll get into that. But that is unfortunate. But that happened. All right. A little bit brighter news. New Hampshire. Governor Kelly signs bill into law allowing New Hampshire to be the first state to invest into Bitcoin. This isn't them holding Bitcoin. This isn't them planning. This means with their profits that the government brings in, which New Hampshire is a state government, they are going to be buying Bitcoin. Okay? As OG Bitcoiners, as OG crypto people, someone who's been in this space since 2014, I can tell you, this is a big domino, right? So the first thing was people adoption, and then you had business adoption, and then you had institutional adoption, which we started getting with BlackRock and all the ETFs. And then after that, it is governmental adoption. And this is one of the first dominoes in that, because New Hampshire, although it's not a giant state, right? No one's arguing that it's this massive population with a massive economy. It's not. But it is a domino in the right direction. Live free or die, baby. That's right. Live free or die. They mean it. They mean it over there in New Hampshire. Okay, I've been there. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite places that I've ever been to. No seatbelt laws, no insurance, no motorcycle helmets. Live free or die. They mean it. Okay? They mean it. All right, breaking. The Fed just purchased billions 3-year bond, the largest daily purchase since 2021 QE era. They're injecting liquidity on the side instead of cutting rates to avoid panic. QE is here. Now, tomorrow is the Fed meeting, and I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to cut interest rates. But just because they're not cutting interest rates does not mean that QE has not started, right? There are different ways of quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. The Fed purchasing bonds, make no mistake, is quantitative easing. Make no mistake about that. So QE has started. Quantitative easing has officially started. And perhaps maybe the biggest story in cryptocurrency right now. Bitcoin OS demo, Bitcoin to Cardano and back without a cross-chain bridge. Now, what does this mean? This means for all of the entire history of Bitcoin, 15 years now, Bitcoin has been a store of value. You have not been able to program money on Bitcoin like Ethereum, like Solana, and all the other ones, right? All the amazing things about DeFi. Bitcoin has just been a store of value. It's digital gold. This is the first step where you can start to program money. And what this means is they essentially sent Bitcoin and back on the ADA network without using a third party, which I cannot quantify and magnify how big of a deal that this actually is. But just know that this is a massive, massive big deal. And I talked about it a little bit earlier. I have a long in ADA right now, presently. Okay? Presently, I have a long in ADA right now. I am going to be looking to add to that position. Make no mistake. All right, so here's my long, 3x long. If any opportunities present themselves, I will be adding to this position. Make no mistake about it. Okay? Because I am very bullish on the chart, short term, medium term, long term, and fundamentally at the same time. Okay, this is a big deal. Sui Game EXO announces Adidas partnership. So basically there's a game that Adidas is launching some NFTs. It's kind of something. It's a big deal. All right, let's get into the charts and crypto. And we're going to circle back to the war in India, right? We're going to circle back to the war in India. Because I find the timing of it very, very interesting, right? We've been talking about this fractal that has been at play. And if you don't know what a fractal is, basically, you pull a chart data. So this is from 2021. This is the distribution of 2021, the markdown of 2022, aka bear market, then the accumulation. Okay, this was your selling climax right here. This was Luna going to 0. This was your spring, FTX going to 0. Okay? That was your spring. Right here, FTX going to 0 was your spring. Okay? So this is the same exact structure that we have right here. Okay, this is distribution, distribution. Your markdown, aka the bear market, markdown, aka the bear market. We went from 109,000 all the way back down to 74.4. That's a huge correction, right? Then your accumulation, you get your selling climax, spring right here, spring right here. Now, the reason that I find the thing very interesting in the timing of it all and the structure of it all is because FTX went to 0 as the spring of Bitcoin back in 2022. OM went to 0 during the spring of 2025, April. Okay? And then what do we have? This was the, this back test right here was the Silicon Valley Bank going to 0. And then you back test again to the war in Israel. That is when that started. And perhaps the same exact structure that we are right here. Because ultimately, I think the next move takes us to 118,000 macro. And now let me categorize things. War is evil. War is terrible. I have been to war. There are no winners in war. Do you understand? There are no winners in war. And war is good for the economy. War is good for stocks. I wish that were not the case because it is evil. It is terrible. It is awful. There are no winners. But this is the sad reality and the sad truth of it all. So Bitcoin pulling back a little bit from 98,000 back to 93.4 today. Right now, as the time of recording, we're at 94,500. I anticipate a little bit of a chop. Ultimately, when we go to the 5 hour, we are chopping upwards, right? And this has been a trend that has been at play for a little while now. As you can see, this was resistance over here. February, March, April, this was resistance. Every time we came to this line, we got rejected until we got above it, and now we're holding it as support. And that was the same thing that happened back here, right? When you go into a downtrend, you just kind of gruel your way out of here, and it's sort of a wall of worry of, are we sure we're going higher? And to me, that's what it is. Are we sure? I'm sure. but the market is not. So I anticipate higher lows from Bitcoin. I anticipate the worst of it is done. We might get a back test if we're lucky to $88,000. But in all likelihood, this is probably it. Right in here. Okay. Ethereum is a beat behind Bitcoin. We've talked about this a lot. You break the downtrend right in here. So on the top, we're going to show Ethereum. On the bottom, we're going to show Bitcoin. In my opinion, Bitcoin is just a beat or two ahead of the rest of the market. Let's show it right. This one. Yeah, here we go. So this is the same structure. You have your markdown, you finally break out of the downtrend. And if we zoom in, you can see what I'm talking about here. Bitcoin just kind of waddled in here. And if we were going on to a smaller time frame, you can kind of see it even a little bit more clearly. Bitcoin breaks out of this downtrend and then just waddles here for a little bit before making a move higher to the 618 Fibonacci retracement. Now, if we're lucky, Ethereum will back test about $1,600. That is as worse as it's going to get. In all likelihood, this is it right here. Because again, it's honoring this micro uptrend as well. But if it were to continue to follow Bitcoin and get to the 618 Fibonacci retracement, Ethereum would take you to about 3,300. I anticipate that to be relatively soon. I'm not saying tomorrow or next week, but the next move. And you might be like, well, it's not going to be that quick, Ski. But in reality, when you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin did that in 25 days. Okay? It went from the spring of 74.4 back to the 618 Fibonacci retracement in 25 days. For perspective, this is 4 or 5 years of stock market gains. That's what Bitcoin just did. Everyone's been bearish the entire time. Couldn't be me. Okay? For Ethereum, that's a 1x move. And I think it could be just as short of amount of time. We will see. All right. As far as, let's move on to the XRP. It's still just waddling here. This is the big thing. And again, I'm going to be clear about my prediction, my analysis on XRP because people get their panties in a bunch. Okay. My prediction is XRP will break free of this fractal, and this was the bottom, and we're going to make a higher low structure. $1.80 is the line in the sand. If we get below $1.80, we're coming back to $1.33. Okay? I do not predict that's what's going to happen, but my channel is not about predicting what's going to happen. My channel is about analyzing the market, outlining the most likely scenario, and then less likely but still plausible scenarios. To me, XRP coming back to $1.33, $1 is less likely, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. So, that being said, I have a plan in place if that action takes place. And my plan is I will add to my spot value on XRP. I have no interest in adding or subtracting my bag of XRP at this value because ultimately we're at the retracement. I've already de-risked at $3.33. Okay. If we don't come back, I'm going to continue to exit at $5, $8, $12. If we do come back, I'm going to add to the position. Right now, though, this value to me, for me personally, is neither a value that I'm interested in buying nor a value that I'm interested in selling. So I'm just going to hold what I have and wait for the market to present itself as to what it's going to do. Either way, I have a big enough position in XRP where I am A-okay. All right, we're going to be just fine. And as far as the total market cap, it's basically doing the same thing as Bitcoin. I like this a lot. This is the sign of strength for the total market cap. Others looking pretty good. A slight uptrend here. Silver, same thing. Gold, to me, is working on distribution. So that is the news and analysis. If you're watching this video, make sure you guys like and subscribe. But with that, we'll get into your guys' questions, comments, concerns. All right. Let's get into it, y'all. What's up? Make sure you guys spam that like button, hitting that share so other people can spam the like button. Ski, my boy, let's run it up. Give me the good stuff. What's popping in 5? Thank you for the hat and mustache. Yeehaw!
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
China says, the mic is on, boss. Hey, Ski. Hello, bro. How are you? North Carolina right behind them. Yeah, North Carolina. There's a few others. Like, that's, again, it's the first domino. Of course, he's talking about New Hampshire being the first state to actually pass it into law, right? This is just the first domino. Whoops. The first domino, but, like, hey, there's a lot of them that it's already passed the House. It's already at the Senate. AKA Texas is one that's at the Senate waiting for governor to sign it into law. This is one domino. There's a lot to go. So this is a big deal. And I think we're going to see more of it. And we don't need to see 50, but 20 is massive, right? North Carolina would be a big one. North Carolina is a big state for sure. Let's go. ADA spot ETF in May. Yeah, I'm very bullish on ADA. I forgot to cover ADA in the charts, but that's okay. We've talked about it a lot. This is like super clean, guys. This is about as clean as it gets. And you see this macro uptrend here. Higher highs, higher lows on the super macro. This is macro analysis, okay? This is the same setup that Bitcoin gave us in 2013. We've been talking about this till we're blue in the face. I'm actively long on Ethereum, ADA right now. I'm going to be looking to add to that position for sure. For sure. Someone asked me what's up with Solnic. What's up with Solnic is we're about to drop our staking. That's what's up, and we're making a higher low. Solnic has bottomed, in my opinion, and is well oversold at this point, and is perhaps the best value in this entire market. Higher low structure, you break a downtrend, higher low, higher low. That's what's up. Extremely oversold, especially on the 5 hour. It's flashing red. So that's what's up with Solnic. Is I think it's bottomed, and it's made its third higher low in a row on the macro. And this has the same sort of feel to Bitcoin when Bitcoin just kind of marches out of here. And this is what we see. It just makes your higher low, boring, grueling until it's not. So I'm not predicting tomorrow, next week, but this is a very good setup. And everyone, someone has to sell the bottom. That's just the reality. That is the reality of the situation. Pat's World, thanks for the heart, bro.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see. What else did I miss on TikTok? What else did I miss? Pudgy Penguin's chart, please. Okay. They both have nuclear weapons, too. Yeah, again, listen. War is evil. And good for charts and the economy. I hate war. It's evil. You will not find a more anti-war person than me because I've been there. Two things can be true at once. What's QE? Quantitative easing. Muncie printer go. That's QE. Any thoughts on DGen? Short it all. India-Pakistan conflict escalating once futures open in 30 minutes. World expect move down. Great. So what happened during the last war? Again, let's keep it real. Let's separate evil versus charts. Let me show you what happened during the last war. Again, let's separate what is evil versus what transpires in the charts. Here's what happened during the last war. This is war in Israel. We didn't go a second lower. To this day. And what did we just talk about with Solnic? When you start making your higher low, boom. Okay, so let's separate terrible things, terrible news, heartbreaking, from how charts behave. Right? So short it if you like. I'm on 90-day plus of being a bear. Can't wait to be a bull again. Well, bro, that's tough because Bitcoin just did 4 years of stock market gains in the last 28 days. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know if I can, you know, my trading account has doubled over the last month. And I'm not, you guys see my my trade here, like this is what I'm doing. I'm not going crazy. I'm not doing 100x. You see what it is? It's 3x. It's 3x. Look, let me zoom in. It's 3x. I'm not going crazy. I'm not doing 30x, 50x, 100x. You don't need to. You don't need to. First state to have a Bitcoin reserve. ICP next target. Let's look at ICP in the micro and in the macro. Damn, that altcoin recovery had almost fully retraced. Crazy. I know, right? Hey, Ski, some people say that for crypto is better to use log chart for Fibonacci, though it gives like really crazy price target. Is that why you stick to normal? I stick to normal. Listen, and my thoughts are if you're going to be an analyst of the market and make your decisions based off your own analysis, which is what I recommend, by the way. I don't want to be your fisherman. I don't want to be your savior. That's not what I'm here to do. I would rather fish for you, teach you to fish, fish with you, teach you to fish, rather than fish for you and be your savior. That's not what I'm here to do. So when you're analyzing the market, wherever your edge personally is, if it's different than mine, that's okay. If you have an edge there, don't get shiny object. Stick to that, right? Me personally, logarithmic makes me bias too much to the upside. That's why I don't use it. But if logarithmic works for you, you should use logarithmic. I have nothing against logarithmic. Just for me personally, it makes me too biased to the upside, and I don't want to be that. I just started investing. Need help. Don't trust people, though. If I doubled my money right now, I'd quit my job to learn to fish my own. That's a good strategy. Do you do personal consults? I do. You can send me a DM. I'll never send you a DM, but yes, I do. Thank you for the hat and mustache. Yeehaw!
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Hello, Ski. Can you please look up Jasmine and Arrow? Thoughts on Theta? I like Theta here. I think Theta has been a bystander of Ethereum, and I think Ethereum has bottomed. Check Russian-Ukraine war when it began. Battle Bitcoin chart. Says, oh man, I'm late. Has the Sonic team promoted Sonic more on the podcast anymore? No, but we're going to. We're waiting until the staking comes out, and the staking is almost done. ICP. Hope all is well. Are you going to Bitcoin Vegas? I'm not. Thoughts on learning how to short and long? I mean, it's a good thing to do if you are conservative and you're not over aggressive. Where people get in trouble is they would try to make up 5-10 years of not being investing in 1 month. And that's where you get into trouble. That's where you get into major trouble. But if you can be patient, you can be methodical, that is the way to go. All right, let's check out ICP. Yeah, it's the same thing. Starting an uptrend here, slightly. Below the 236, on top of a lot of support. Not really much more to say about it. But I like the chart. He still hit 21 cents. That's the maximum parabolic. Sold, please, 400, 420 to 510. How much time do you think I have to start accumulating ICP before it starts pumping? When Bitcoin makes a new all-time high. So kindly. Why are you more bearish now? I'm assuming a longer delay on the main dump, the better. But a lot of your price targets have been reduced. I'm not more bearish. What am I more bearish on? The funny thing is, I just got accused of being a perma bull. Like, because I made a video saying that my target for XRP is $5, $8, $12. And I said, even in the video, that I think there's a reasonable plausibility that XRP comes back to $1. I sold 40% of my XRP at $3.33. So I don't know. I said I was extremely bearish on XRP at $3.33. I don't know where I'd be without your boy Ski. You'd be making it. Why is 7 cents your target for Solnick? So 7 cents is my bare minimum target. Bare bones minimum. Realistically, $1 is my medium case, and $5 is my $5.89 is my bull. I don't know if it's bearish, but past a lot of your price targets were 4618. Now you rarely mention the 46. Well, it was always the 3618. VT, for example. Okay, here's the deal. I have to be careful with my predictions, because even though I say don't listen to me, even though I say come up with your own analysis, people don't listen to me, and they just, they do that. I don't want them to do that. Okay, so I would rather people exit a little bit too early than wait for the day that never comes. But realistically, my thoughts on the Fibonacci's are still the same. And 2618, it was always 3618, never 4618. 3618 is what I consider to be the very maximum parabolic. The 2618 is what I consider to be parabolic. So that's where I'm going to give my targets, at retracement levels and at parabolic levels. But by the way, XRP at $12, that's maximum parabolic. New local bottom incoming. India just attacked Pakistan. We could never catch a break, dude. Yeah, we talked about that. I think that's exactly what it is. I think a local bottom is incoming, and I outlined this right here at the beginning of the stream. We talked about, so this right here was the war in Israel. Right here, your back test. And we just have the war in Pakistan. This spring, OM went to 0. This spring, FTX went to 0. You have your secondary test and your selling climax right here. So to me, that's about where we are. X, thanks for becoming a member, you savage.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
I appreciate you, bro. I see alts being better investment. Bitcoin had to grind battle. Blue chip alts have easier, faster mainstream acceptance. I agree. I think that the play is the altcoins, especially the blue chips and your fundamental projects. I don't think that Bitcoin, just like XRP to me, is at the macro 618. This is neither a buy nor a sell to me, because it's at the retracement. I'm already well positioned in XRP. Bitcoin too, same thing. Guess what? It's at the retracement, 618. Neither a buy nor a sell. Altcoins, however, a lot of them, no. ADA, well below the 236. Solnic, well below the 236. A lot of things are like that. What about ETH? ETH is well below the 236. And I think it's going to catch up to Bitcoin, which would be about 3,300. XEN, please. So to me, this just went to the, this is in all likelihood. Let me move this, clean this up a little bit. So we're below the 236 again on the micro. On the macro, we are as well. There's not a lot of trading here. So we could come back to 1.2 cents would be the low case. But ultimately, in the macro, I really like this setup. We'll see what it does in the micro, though. Win book. Very, very soon. How about LCX? I like LCX here. $1 to $2. How did you come up with those targets on Solnic? Multiple legs. The next micro leg takes you to about 40 million. Why mark it down? The war. The war. Which in all likelihood is going to cause a new local bottom. So ADA ETH are fundamentally a good buy right now. Which others? My top value list. Solnic is my favorite 100x play. I like ADA here. I like Ethereum. I think is a pretty good value here. I think Link is a good value here. I think what else? Now, listen. I'm going to tell you what I think is a good value, but what I think that you should not do is no. Solnic is not on Robinhood. You have to buy it on Phantom. What I think you should not do is borrow money from your credit card, borrow money from your father-in-law, ape in, and hopefully things turn around in the next week. That's not what you should do. You should position yourself in a position to be patient where you can be in the wrong flavor for months upon months. If you're in that position, these are all excellent values if you can wait it out. If you're not in that position, step one is to get into that position. What's your opinion after FOMC tomorrow? Up, down? Volatility. But ultimately, I anticipate the market to print a higher low. Thoughts on the markets will drop down soon? Sure, a higher low. The bottom is already in, though. Borrow from yourself. Borrow from yourself is okay. Ski, can XY go back to 9 cents? I think so. 10 cents is my target, actually. That is crazy. What is crazy? Why I really don't get why people say this is not a buyer's market, only traders market. This is easily a buyer's market for most altcoins. I agree. Like, we're in a boring phase, and realistically, this is a buyer's market in that you might be sideways, you might be a little bit down, but ultimately I think we're in an uptrend. And if you just DCA from this point, I think you're going to be rewarded. You think we see December highs on some coins sometime in 2025? Yes, I do. I think we see a lot of altcoins actually take out December highs. Like, specifically the structure that I'm looking for on macro altcoins are the same setup as ADA. And I'm going to show you. We've talked about this a lot, but we'll do it again. Specifically, this setup right here, to me, these coins have a high probability of taking out all-time highs, even in 2025. So let's show you. So on the top is ADA, but I don't really care about the coin. What I'm talking about, though, is the structure. Okay. On the top is ADA. On the bottom is Bitcoin from 2013 through 2017. Markdown, accumulation, sign of strength, back test of the prior range, back test, reaccumulate, mark higher than the sign of strength, and mark higher than the sign of strength, back test again, and then you start to gruel up. A lot of the market is right in here, in my opinion. Right in here. Okay? And then this is the end of the story. Okay? The story is still going. The story is still going. Don't worry, the story is still going. 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 The story. Now, I don't necessarily predict it's going to be that parabolic, but I think reasonably going into price discovery for a lot of coins that look like this with low to no inflation, yes. Isn't ICP a great buy right now? I think it is. I don't know you like VRA. It's up 129% this week. Could you give me good price targets, please? That's amazing. Dude, listen, no joke. I'm pumped to be wrong on VRA if that's the case. I wish VRA had a market cap that I could look at. But see, this is still like, there's a lot to get through here. We'll see. This is pretty violent. This is kind of oversold at this point, or overbought at this point. 89 on the RSI daily. Definitely hot. It's hotter than it was right here. And you're below, you know, what was support, a lot of resistance. So I would be cautious here. I'd be interested to see, like, just from this pool, where are we? At the 382, it's a little bit hot in the micro. Sean, thoughts on injective? Hold up, bro. Hold up, bro. We gonna address your baseless allegations that you commented on my video before we go any further. Because bro accused me of being a perma bull, which I am not. Publicly, video evidence, whenever there was coins that I liked back in November, but everyone kept asking me about Pinlink. I was like, for the love of God, take profit. XRP, I was bearish on in November, $3.33. I sold 40% of my second largest holding. And I said, for the love of God, take profit on XRP. All right? I am not a perma bull. In 2021, I sold all of my crypto at the average price of $50,000. Land Wolf, I was bearish at the top. Soba, I was bearish at the top. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. XCN, I was bearish at the top. I am not a perma bull. Absolutely not. There are moments when I am bearish. But fundamentally, I understand that this game is a patience game. And it doesn't just flip back and forth, back and bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bullish. That's not how it goes. You're in a trend. That's how it goes. People want it to be bear, bull, bear, bull, bear. That's not how it is. Really, it's Team Crab 90% of the time. And guess what? Team Crab is accumulation, means to buy, buy, buy. Because what are you betting? You are betting against the US dollar. I am perma bearish on the US dollar. It has lost 98% of the purchasing power since 1971. I will never be bullish on the US dollar. I never think they're going to stop printing money. I never think the US dollar is going to have more purchasing power next decade than it does this decade. It's not going to happen. It's a very simple bet. But no, there are moments when I am bearish. There are moments when I'm bullish. Most of the time, we're just in sideways accumulation. That is the truth. And I will bet against the US dollar all day, every day, twice on Sundays. Bro, I wish I would have found out about crypto when Bitcoin was $1. I would not be listening to all your lies. Bro! What the... Thoughts on Naka? I like Naka a lot right here. Solnick, that is the contract address for Solnick, my top value play right now. I actually think markets could move favorably tomorrow if Powell comes out dovish for the rest of the year, implying potential rate big cuts. Yeah, listen, the markets have been bearish. They have been beaten down. They have been brutalized since November. And we live in a world where we think that that's going to continue forever. And that's not real. That's not real. And in my opinion, like, it's very clear that we have broken this downtrend. So, are we going to have pullbacks? Yes, we are. Could we even go back to 88K? That's certainly on the table. Are we going to make a new low? Highly unlikely. So yeah, I heard Elliott Wave TA about a mega bull run, which Bitcoin goes to 45K first from here, and then it shoots up towards 250K. Your thoughts? I would argue the opposite is true. Like, if we go to 250K almost in a straight line, then that's probably where we would come back to. Yeah. But sure, like, you know, I disagree. I think that if you want to tell me that Bitcoin's going to go to 250 and then back to 45, I would agree with that. But going to 45 now, I just don't think there's enough oomph, because in order to come back so violently like that, you need to come up violently. Every yin, there's a yang. And in reality, we've already pulled back 32%. Powell is political, but I think he's running out of excuses. I think so. Advice: 5 coins can do a 5x and more. Here are my top 5 favorite coins that have 5x plus potential. Number 1, Solnick. ADA. Link. VeChain. Flux. There you go. That's my 5 favorite 5x plus potential or more. 40K to invest ADA, VeChain, ICP, XYO evenly, you think? 5x? Yeah, you could definitely add ICP to that. You could definitely add VeChain to that. Or, excuse me, XYO. I like Dynex here. Lots of Elliott Wave experts coming out. Yes, exactly. How do you use Elliott Wave over your Wyckoff? I don't. I'm not an Elliott Wave expert. I don't use Elliott Wave. I am a Wyckoff expert. Wyckoff is my bread and butter. I am not an Elliott Wave person. That's not how I analyze the market. I understand Elliott Wave, but I don't use it. Hardly ever. Flux. Yeah, Flux is a very good one. There's a lot of coins, right? Those are off the top of my head. Off the dome. Really, there's like 76. My top 76 altcoins that will 5x. Yeah. Those are just my 5 off the top of my head. Thoughts on Casper? Not a fan of Casper. With the red Casper, the friendly ghost. Okay, not a fan. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have not been a fan at one point in time. I was one of the only creators that did not get onboarded into Casper. I don't know why, but this is really what happened to me. Back in 2022, maybe 2023, someone asked me like, "Hey, Ski, what do you think of Casper?" We're going to pretend like right now. We're going to pretend like this is the first time I've ever heard of Casper. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, okay? They're like, "Hey, Ski, we're going to pretend like this is 2022. That's what we're going to do. This is 2022. You just asked me, what's my opinions on Casper? The red one. Hey, Ski, what's your opinions on Casper? Okay. Yeah. What is this chart? No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I have no interest in this moving forward. That was the end of my Casper career. Okay. No interest in any chart that looks like this. None. Zero. All right. And they've been highly inflationary, and they're still making new lows to this day. To this day. Still making new lows. I'm not a fan. Now, I'll say that this looks like accumulation, but like, where do you pull the Fibonacci from? I have no clue. And I don't have any interest in this project. I do know that there's a lot of inflation on this coin, which is the death of ROI. Okay. Maybe not. It looks like it's done. So maybe I'm dead. I would love to be face meltingly wrong on Casper, actually. Where we go? Okay, if we're going to pull from here, like, I just don't know where to pull from, right? I don't know. This is not a good chart to give you technical analysis from. Like, I hate this. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. So, like, if you pull from here, I'm just not interested in it, and I would love to be face-meltingly wrong. I would love for you to come back 6 months from now, a year from now, whatever, and be like, Ski, nana boo-boo, stick your face in doo-doo. Remember how wrong you were about Casper. I would love for that, honestly. Truly. I'm not being funny. I would love for that. 15 cents is retracement. Parabolic is 57 cents. To me, that's best case. There you go. So there you go. That's my thoughts. I'm not a fan. I haven't been a fan since 2022. And it's still making new lows. Casper and 5. Casper. Casper the friendly ghost. Casper and 5. Just gained 100. Yeah, Elliott is inaccurate because you can never be sure which wave it is. Yeah, that's why I don't use it. I know it. I understand it. But that's not my bread and butter, nor do I pretend like it is. Yeah. Do you mean 5x from today's prices? Yes. Fire sale going on, Ski. Excellent prediction, $1 to $2. R-Drum. I think R-Drum's bottom. Listen, you got to have the right expectations for R-Drum. R-Drum was another coin that I was bearish on in November, publicly. Video evidence documented. You got to have the right expectations on R-Drum. Listen, I'm going to tell you. I think R-Drum has bottomed. I think R-Drum has broken this downtrend. And R-Drum is card-changing money, not life-changing money. Right? Card-changing money, not life-changing money. If you think that you're going to invest $76 in R-Drum and you're going to retire, you have the wrong expectations. 1.3x is retracement for R-Drum. And parabolic is a 7x. That's amazing. Amazing. A 76x? No. So 7x is for almost $5. Just shy of $5. Mustard! Casper the Unfriendly. I don't like Caspa either. Too many holders that are massively in the green from the bear market. It's because it was one of the highest. It was one of the best performers. Like Caspa, the green one, just went off and did a 20x. This is the crazy thing about Caspa that is hard to overstate. Okay, Caspa, the green one. Now we're shifting gears. We went from red light to green light. We went from the red Caspa to the green Caspa. All right, everyone following. Wop, wop, wop. All right, we're shifting gears. We're going to the green Caspa. And the thing is that you have to keep in mind about this. This did a 20x when everything else was dead, bro. Dead. Nothing was moving. And Caspa ripped. More than it did 8,490% to the upside. Insane. Healthy distribution, markdown. This is reaccumulation, sign of strength, back test of the prior range to me. That's where we're at on Caspa. I don't mind this chart at all, actually. Yeah. I do think that like Caspa could be ahead of the market with Bitcoin because of how it moved previously. It moved ahead of the market. Retracement is 15 cents. I would definitely de-risk here. Parabolic is 44 to 60 cents. Crow too inflationary. Stock market trading like an altcoin. Check futures. Is it? What's the Dow Jones looking like? He says straight. Yeah, again, like we're at the retracement. I have no interest in trading this right now with the Dow Jones, but I anticipate a higher low is to come out is what I think. You still think Dynex can hit $3? I do. 88 prediction, $6 to $8. Polka dots. Bitcoin just jumped. Whoa. Sure did. Again, like I think, listen, you guys might want to laugh at it or not. Someone laughed at, someone's like, oh, that's a stretch ski. Like, okay. Like you see it reacting off of this level. You see it. You synced it. So there you go. $7 trillion not in stocks right now. I'm hoping some flow into crypto. Raul Paul is saying Bitcoin's going to 450K. What would alts look like? Pff, bro. Listen, my biggest fear in this game is Bitcoin breaks the 4-year cycle. Looks like it's done, by the way. Looks like it has done this, by the way. But everyone anticipates it to break to the downside. What if it breaks to the upside? So, yeah, that would be insane. Can I put 76 into Solnic and retire? I don't know. Probably not. That is my point. I saw a chart last week where it showed the proportion of holders that are still 500% in profits. Surprised how high it was still. It has, dude, Caspa, the green coin, definitely has a cult-like following for sure. So selling my Crow to get more Solnic. I believe in Solnic more than I believe in Crow, but I think that Crow is a good value. The war's heating up again. Yes, listen, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Listen. I'm going to say something. Let's what is the word I'm looking for? There's layers, there's levels, right? This is a layered issue, right? So let's peel back one layer here. And first layer of war, which, by the way, this is the fractal from 2021, 2022, 2023. This is trading perfectly with Bitcoin right now. Okay. Pull back first layer. Layer 1 of war. War is evil. I have been to 3 different wars, 4 separate occasions. There are no winners in war. War is evil. For all parties involved, war is evil. You will not find a more anti-war person than me. That's layer number 1. Okay, let's throw that layer away because we already talked about it. And now let's talk about war in regards to the market and the economy. We already talked about layer 1. War is evil, no winners. War is good for the market. War is good for economy. I wish that were not the case, but that is true. The last war was Israel, and guess what? We have not been a second lower to this day. When the war in Israel started was right here. Let me show you. Right here. We have not been a second lower to this day. Okay. So again, it's a layered, complex issue. War is evil. There are no winners in wars. I am anti-war as it comes. I've been to 3 different wars 4 different times. I'm not a fan. And it's good for markets. It's good for the economy. I wish it weren't. War is evil for humanity and profits for the evil. VeChain has always served me well. I find VeChain to be one of the easiest coins to trade, to be honest. Sup, Ski? What up, fam? Last bull run, most blue chips were higher in May than this May. How can we reach all-time highs by the end of the year? Crazy money inflow. Yeah, listen, it's very simple. They're not going to stop printing the US dollar. And to me, Bitcoin has already bottomed and is already deep in accumulation. And the next phase is going to be the Mark E, which would take us to 118,000. The difference in altcoins between Bitcoin at 90,000 and 118,000 is hard to overstate. Thank you for your service, Ski. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's hard to overstate what that will actually do. Let's go, Solnic. Let's go, Ski and Solnic community. VeChain to 20 cents in June, end of year. You think? I think that's very plausible. War equals death, suffering, but also spending money and printing. Exactly, Eli. That's correct, right? That's the hard truth. It's disgusting and vile. And it means printing money. It's a sensitive subject, and like my heart breaks for those people, truly. But I'm not going to pretend like it's a bad thing for Bitcoin. I'm not going to pretend like it's a bad thing for the stock market. Right? What should be bad, I agree with you. But what should and what is not so. If we get official QE announcement tomorrow, we are mooning. We have already gotten official QE. I talked about that earlier in this live stream. Right here. Like, they've already started QE. They've already started purchasing bonds. The largest amount on a daily purchase since 2021. Now, are they lowering interest rates yet officially? No, but that is the next thing. But they're already buying bonds at a record rate, the highest since the last QE. So whether they have announced that it's officially started or not is irrelevant to the fact of it has officially started. Exactly, Eli. I agree. The stealth QE. Yeah, right? Ondo. Again, Ondo to me, card changing money. It has bottomed. If you want to invest $76 into Ondo and want to retire your entire lineage, it's not happening. If you want to invest $7,000 into Ondo and upgrade your Toyota Camry, that might happen. Right? We gotta have the right expectations. If you have the right expectations, you will not be disappointed. Okay. To me, Ondo has bottom. This is accumulation, and you're making higher lows right now. $10 billion market cap is my price target. And people tell me, what about Trump? $10 billion market cap is my target. What about the Easter Bunny? What about Santa Claus? $10 billion market cap is my target, even if the Easter Bunny adopts Ondo. Even if Santa Claus uses Ondo to deliver all the presents, $10 billion is my target. Market cap, which is a 3x from here, 2.7x. Okay. Was the Enduring Freedom Campaign when 9/11? The real problem is they can't stop printing the US dollar, and they never will, right? And we've seen this. Santa will be good for all of us. And we've seen this too. Like this isn't just the United States, or this is every country. Right? Once you go into a gold-backed system, a silver-backed system, a cattle-backed system, a whatever system, and you move into a fiat, which is not backed by anything other than faith. We got you, bro. Don't worry. You're good. Once you go into that system, and money printing is the answer, United States is not the only one. It's every country ever in the history of ever. Once you go down that path, there is no escape from the path. You just keep going until the currency gets printed into oblivion. There have been 300 fiat currencies since ancient Egypt, and there have been 300 failed fiat currencies since ancient Egypt. Maybe this time it is different. History would say no. If war is bad for stock market, there would be no wars. Right? That is the most factual comment I've ever seen. That's a bar, bro. Every country fiat system needs to print money because it's in debt. Exactly. Right? The only way, once you start printing money, there is no, we're going to stop printing money. That doesn't exist. You never go backwards, right? Like, I promise you, I guarantee, I will bet my lineage, the US dollar will be less purchasing power in 10 years from now as it is today. I think Ondo could go much higher than that, but yeah, people should take profits heavily at 10 billion. Yeah, I think, listen, is it plausible to go higher? Sure. Can you go to 13? Can you go to 15? Sure. Surely you can. You certainly can. I think that's reasonable, articulable. 4x, 5x, sure. People always need to borrow. Exactly. Will 2 million Solnick retire me this bull? Only need 400K to retire. I think that's very plausible. All right. When do you expect the bull run? I think we're in the grueling up phase. Right? So how did Bitcoin start? Like, man, what a crazy... Like we're up 1,000 since this stream started. So when we think back to the war in Israel, this was just like a grow up, man. Like we spent some time here of chopping up, and you start to finally make higher lows, and then it's violent, right? Realistically, reality, 90% of the market looks like this right here. 90% of the time, this is what the market looks like. That's what you should be buying. If you buy this, it's almost impossible to be in the red after a couple of years. Almost impossible. If you buy this boring, you will be in the green. Okay? 90% of the market looks like that. 5% looks like this, scary crashes. 5% looks like scary or awesome violent pumps. 90% looks like this. To me, the end of the grueling, you start to gruel your way up. And to me, that is what we are doing now. We are grueling up, which is the last phase before you go violently up. It says, after about 2 months of following you on TikTok, I finally jumped into Solnic. Let's go. My number one 100x play. Period. Not even close. Bitcoin to 120. Yeah, my next target is 118. All right, we're going to switch to members only on TikTok. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. If they cut rates tomorrow, do you think that starts the phase E? Probably, but I don't necessarily think we need that. What's the best crypto to invest in right now? My favorite is Solnic. Sell some at $1, wait for 60 cents. What are you talking about? Pudding talk? God, I hope Bitcoin comes back to 50 to 60 next bear market. I want to buy at least 2 Bitcoin. Finally reached 250K. Solnic, let's go, bro.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Yeah, savage. All right. So, yeah, right now, I think we're in the grueling up phase. And what we've seen is things are boring, boring, boring until they are not. Sandy, Jane, thanks for becoming a member, you savage.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Pat's World, thanks for becoming a member, you savage.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Says about time. It's about time. One thing I haven't talked about too much, though, the DXY. I do think that this was a local bottom for sure. Like, look how oversold we got. The question, though, and I think a reasonable plausibility, is all of this, like if we remove this up a little bit and we get all the touch points on the DXY, which is, what is that, 100.8? I think it's reasonable to anticipate that we get rejected off this and roll back over, which would be very, very good for crypto and stocks. Panka, thank you for the hat and mustache. Yeehaw!
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Can we get more Solnic by staking when it starts? Yes, my friend, that is the point. Yes, you will earn APY on your Solnic. That is the entire point of the staking. And if you're wondering where does it come from, because Solnic has a maximum supply, it's coming from me and other people that are impatient. I think Bitcoin is pumping because people got POW info early. Yeah, like we shouldn't expect volatility the next couple of days. I don't think that this pump right now is significant of like a breakout. You know, there's always volatility the day before, the day after, a few days after it kind of settles where it's going to be. And that's what I anticipate. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm not going to sit here and predict what's going to happen with the Fed. Because in reality, it's not a great thing to trade because there's always volatility, always. So we'll see. But yeah, like there was crazy amount of bearishness at the beginning of the stream. Everyone's like, ski, why is it dumping? And now everyone is just like bumping like crazy. We're about to close the day green, which is kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, so the Solnic staking, how it's going to work is I'm going to put up a lot of my Solnic in the beginning, and that's going to be the APY. And inevitably, it's going to work off of a slasher method, right? So let's say your APY for staking it for, I don't know what the percentage are going to be. It's going to be based off of what's available. The staking is still in the test net, and it needs to get audited, Wade, but it's almost complete. With that, and we're going to move it to the main net very, very soon. Then it's going to get audited, and then it will be ready. So I'm going to put up a lot on my Solnic for you guys to earn APY, and the percentage is going to be based off of what is in there. And let's just say you get 10% for 90 days staking. I don't know what the numbers are going to be. I'm just making up numbers. But let's say that's what it is. If you unstake it at one day, you're going to be penalized heavily for that. You're not going to earn 10%. You're gonna lose money. If you go closer to 45 days in, you're going to be penalized less. And then ultimately at the 90-day mark, that's when you're going to get your 10%. So that's how it's going to be rebalanced, the APY. If that makes sense. But if you do what you say, you're going to earn APY. If you're patient and you do what you say, you're going to earn APY. And quite literally, those who are patient are going to be rewarded. Those who are impatient are going to be punished. Literally. That's how it's going to work. But all right, guys, that is going to be it for this time. I got to go and work on my tractor. So that's going to be it for this time. I'll be live tomorrow every single day this week, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I upload every single day, 5+ days, 5 videos per day. Also uploading one long 10 to 20 minute video on YouTube every day. So check that out. If you like the longer form content, we have that. If you like the live streams of connecting with me, we got that too. And if you like just the quick shorts, brass tack, 1 to 2 minutes, I do that as well. I'm everything everywhere all at one time. So I appreciate you guys. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. God bless.
Damn hustle.